Okay, everybody, here we go. It is me, Gregory Mannarino, Thursday, July 6th, 2023. All my friends are here. Lava Girl. I love this. Goulstein La Gargoyle. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up here. Magic Mika's here today. Missed you yesterday, seriously. Everyone's here. Perry, where's Lord Humongous? Dude, get your butt over here. Anyway, people, let's talk. It's kind of interesting, I think, in a way, to see what you and I have pretty much expected would happen once the MMRI did cross 250. I mean, we had every tell, I think, on the face of the earth that once we broke 250, this market wasn't going to like it. I'm a little bit surprised, a little bit, honestly, that the Federal Reserve has allowed this to happen here. Let's see. It's not over yet. The game is not over. The last time I checked, right before this video, the MMRI was sitting squarely at 259. We got a 10-year yield, 4.049. We got a relative strength of the dollar, which did fall a little bit today. Imagine if that put on some gains. I mean, this market would be very unhappy. Thank you, Mitch. Okay, we got crude oil today putting on like a fractional gain after yesterday's big gain. Crypto's under some pressure, except Bitcoin Cash, some kind of freakish thing going on over there, honestly. Gold falling under some pressure, silver falling about 2%. And of course, the major stock market indices, not too thrilled about what's happening here. And it's kind of interesting, honestly. Let's put this into perspective. So yesterday we got, I would say, a minor sell-off here in the U.S. markets when the MMRI crossed 250, but the world, stock markets around the world also fell pretty good. And then we got a follow through with the U.S. market. It's going to be interesting. That's all I have to say. Look, we know the game. We have a runaway central bank that wants to buy it all. And yes, not only do they buy debt with their trading desk, which they have at the New York Fed. Please, fact check me on this. Yes, there is a trading desk there, but they also buy large cap stocks. Why do you think, for example, it's the large caps that carry the market? Just a few carry the entire market. This is the plunge protection team. It's a real thing. It exists. And I would be willing to bet if, earlier today, this market was down, the Dow was down 500 points. We did finish lower about 360. I'm not saying that was the Fed jumping in here. But if this market would have peeled off 1,000 earlier, the Fed would have got in here and started buying and stabilizing the market. That's really the truth. But, we have so much to talk about here. But I know I'm preaching to the choir here, and I get it. Believe me. And it pains me, it honestly does, to say what I'm about to say here, that the United States of America, first of all, this is not the United States of America. This has become the United States of corporate America. There is a corporate agenda being fulfilled right now. Central banks, none more than the Fed, are right in the middle of it. The real reason, and you know this better than anybody else, why central banks have been raising rates here is to cut off the ability of credit to small businesses, because they're trying to, again, fulfill the corporate agenda. Small businesses are being exterminated. They're being wiped out. As a matter of fact, part of the great news that we got today is job openings plunged. And to my surprise, and probably yours too, let me see your shocked face. Most of these job openings, which do not exist, are from small businesses, which are being exterminated. This is an elimination. I've been telling you this is an elimination and an extermination of an entire class of people on a worldwide scale now for years, and it's in our freaking face here. The consumer is crushed. They're getting destroyed, holding on to their highest debt burdens ever in history. And it's all coming apart, period, the end here. But we're doing great and fantastic. And you know how we are, because behind the resolute desk says we are. He also said inflation was coming. It isn't. He also said people are earning more money, which it's not. Do you realize this? I covered this probably yesterday. Now for 25 consecutive months, real wages, what people are earning based against rising inflation, has come down for 25 consecutive months. Where's the outcry? Where's the revolution? It's nowhere. Again, these people just take it. It's like a smack or a backhand across the face, and then a forward smack, a backhand over and over again, and they just sit there and take it because they don't know what to do with themselves in this kind of an environment. Thanks again, Mitch. Anyway, it's just most twisted. Lord Humongous, dude, I missed you, bro. I'm glad you're here with me. Anyway, so that's the situation. Apparently, we got this great economic news today. We added all of these jobs, but it's just, I don't get it. So we added all these jobs more so than they expected, but first time unemployment claims come in higher than expected, and job openings crater. Oh, how does that work? That's because all the data is completely fake. None of it is real. It's propaganda. It's deceptions. It's lies. It's look here, don't look over there. I mean, globally, people, it's coming apart. Again, they are deliberately dismantling the current system to bring about a new one. And a big part of this is, well, the title of this video. America, which is not America anymore, is living on borrowed money and borrowed time. On the world stage, thank you, Mastermind, the U.S. is literally falling off of a cliff. We're the laughing stock of the planet at this particular time. And the world is frankly, I did an interview earlier today, Stansberry Research, Daniela Carbone, super person, great person. Anyway, we were talking about this, the United States kind of falling off the map with regard to, look, what's the number? You tell me. Tell Greg Mannarino, other than propaganda, what is the number one export product of the U.S.? Inflation. Exactly. We export inflation to the rest of the world. We have been. Again, we have to understand, and we talked about this on that interview with Stansberry over there. Exactly, inflation. From Alan Greenspan. Thank you, sir. Unbelievable. Look at the little things he's putting up over there. I love it. Anyway, the world's sick of this. The world is sick and tired of a runaway central bank mismanaging. I don't think, here, look, let's put a bigger perspective on this. This is no mismanagement at all. The Federal Reserve has been running amok, trying to acquire assets with their product. They produce one thing, debt, issuing it to the world, exporting inflation to the world, buying everything in sight. That's the goal of any central bank, none more so than the Federal Reserve. You know this better than anybody. Thanks, Base Flyer. I appreciate that. Number one fan. Awesome. I'm your number one fan. That's the truth, too, as well. Anyway, and with the BRICS nations and everything else that's going on behind the scenes, and Yellen staying over there with her begging bowl. Someone brought that up earlier. I love that. Over to China. Look, the United States is done. It's done, and it's been done. Again, it's this dismantling of the system for forming this new one world government run by central banks. You all know that. The rest of it is all just a sideshow on an unprecedented scale here, and it's about to get more interesting. Anyway, so look, I mean, how embarrassing is it for me to live here in this country with the most indebted nation in the history of the world? Old Man Odin, thank you, Helen Bobblehead. Yeah, we need one of those here. The most indebted nation in the history of the world, but we're the richest nation in the world. How does that work? Someone here with a higher IQ than me, and it's probably all of you, let me know how that works. How can we be the richest nation in the world if we owe the most debt? That doesn't make any sense to me. Does it make sense to you? I don't think it does here. And frankly, as I said, the world is sick of this. I'm sick of it. And we just had Insurrection Day. We just celebrated Insurrection Day. Most people have no idea what July 4th is about. They go and have barbecues and they shoot off fireworks, and they. I was going to say something really bad, but I won't. This video will get banned. But they have no idea what even July 4th is. We have the most dumbed down population in the history of the world. All of you here are the elite. That is the truth. Anyway, I want to cover this. This is interesting. So Goldman Sachs, the Wall Street super bank after bank after bank, including Goldman, has been, floating out warnings that, the market is about to fall and the valuations don't make sense anymore. None of it does. And this market has been in some kind of distorted reality for quite a long time. Thanks, Mitch. And thank you, Jonathan Hart. Wow. Appreciate that. Anyway, so we get another warning here from the Wall Street Superbank, Goldman Sachs. Five reasons, and they're floating these 5 reasons out why this stock market is going to fall. Number one, I'm going to name these for you real quick. More investors are taking downside protection, basically hedging their positions. Number two, are you ready for this one? This one's going to really blow your mind. The Fed has this as number two, but it should be number one. Risk is elevated. Can I please get a duh? Yeah, we have the Mannarino market risk indicator. It's pretty much nailed it to the wall here. So number one, more investors taking up downside risk, like I said. And then risk is elevated. That's two. Number three, something I've spoken about, I don't know for how many freaking years, that valuations don't make sense anymore. The market is just so disconnected from reality. So high valuations. Number four, and this is kind of interesting, and this, let me touch on this a little bit. So Goldman Sachs is saying the fourth reason why they believe the stock market is due for a fall here is the equity market, or the stock market, has priced in an optimistic outlook. I think a lot of this is fear of missing out on this AI nonsensical thing that's going on, that they're hyping to the nth degree. It's going to be another dot-com bubble, quite obviously. So it's euphoria. I mean, I did several videos about euphoria in this market. It's clearly euphoric, but look, don't take my word for this. We've got warnings from the International Mafia Fund, the IMF, from the BIS, Bank of Internal Settlements here, the Central Bank of Central Banks, telling us that we're all going to get a reality check. You see, but you and I knew that already. But we're ready. We got each other's backs. We take care of each other. We're becoming our own central banks. We're betting against the debt. We're doing what we got to do. Period. And then the fifth thing here is they're saying, Goldman Sachs, the tailwind pushing equities higher, it no longer exists. So that's the top 5 reasons why Goldman Sachs is saying that the stock market is likely to fall. It's interesting, honestly, that this is really should be number one. Thank you, Roman 1. I appreciate that. Risk is elevated. Risk in this. Let me just say this. Okay. Yes, indeed. You and I have the MMRI, and I firmly believe that it is a fantastic. It's not, a foolproof, I guess, here, but it's as close as we're to get in an imperfect world to an indicator that's, telling us about risk in the market here. But risk in this market can't actually be measured very, very accurately. That's even with the MMR, I think is the best tool out there. But understanding, all right, bear with me for a moment on this here. And I spoke about this again. You don't miss the Stansberry Research interview. I don't know when it's coming out. Maybe later today. You got to see this one. We covered a lot. Anyway, it was a 2-segment thing. Understanding. Let's think for a moment. If you and I and everybody else here watching understands that we have been in an environment where central banks collectively around this freak show of a world have been artificially suppressing rates. I mean, think about this. There's no free market. How can you have a free market when the largest aspect of this market, by far, talking about the debt market, is being rigged by central banks collectively, keeping rates suppressed, opening up that doorway for cash to make its way into risk assets or the stock market, inflating a super hyper bubble, reinflating a housing bubble, a real estate bubble. Meanwhile, we got this whole commercial real estate issue thing, which we've spoken about. We'll cover more down the line here. Creating, malinvestment, cash coming out of things it should be going into, and vice versa. Nothing is real. And looking at the debt market, understanding, that yields are suppressed, despite the fact that central banks are in the fight of their lives. They're raising rates, and a miracle is going to eventually happen, and inflation is going to drop. Has nothing to do with anything. You all know that. They're just cutting off credit. They're cutting off the availability of credit to small businesses, which are being systematically erased. Thanks again, Mitch, and everything else, and the consumer's getting wiped out. But anyway, understanding that this, with artificially suppressed rates comes a cost to all of us. I mean, the biggest literal cost, bear with me on this one, to the people, savers, is they're being robbed blind. of literally, and I'm not just making up this number. I don't even know how many multiple trillions of dollars in realized wealth. I mean, there was a time, think about it. There was a time when people relied on a savings account to to keep them ahead of the curve with regard to inflation. You earned more money, but now you're completely underwater. I don't even care if you have a high yield savings account. They're telling us that the inflation rate is like 4%. I mean, if you can find a high yield account with 4%, lucky you here. But we know the actual rate of inflation is much, much higher. So you're being robbed blind every day of your life that you have your cash in an interest earning account. It's unbelievable. But Joe Biden, he's going to tell you it's a good thing. It's great because it's his economic policies. It's not the central banks. Tell me again. Let me see. Maybe one of you can refresh my mind. Maybe you can. Who runs the world economy? Oh yeah, it's the central banks. Runs the world markets? Oh yes, it's central banks too. Who runs the entire financial system of the world? Yes, bing, bing, bing. You win the award. It's central banks as well. People make it up. I dare you. Make any of this stuff up. Anyway, it's the most, I get such a freaking headache. Sometimes I'll get mostly good feedback from everybody. It's the truth. But once in a while, oh, Greg, you act like an imbecile. Why do you make those stupid faces? You know why? Because I want to. And if you don't want to watch me making silly faces, then just go away. You don't belong here. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes I just got to, cut loose here. Telling you, I'm gonna vape a lot one day, people. I really, really am. Anyway, that's just pretty much where we stand, people. I think I covered a lot with all of you. This video is going on almost 17 minutes here. I like the faces. Make the faces with me. I mean, come on. I don't know. Can I blow a gasket? I got a little bent out of shape today with Daniela. She got a kick out of it. But I'll be honest. If this stuff doesn't get to you. You know what I told Daniela today? I think we were on air when we were talking about it. I said, let me say this, a fraction of 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 the people in this world, and you're all part of it, understand how the financial system works. If people really knew how the financial system worked, they'd be running to the hills. They'd be running to the hills so fast, their freaking shoes and socks would fall off. You understand? But, people have been lulled into some sense of, I don't know what they've been lulled into, but it ain't a pretty thing at all. What can I tell you, man? Lord humongous. I love this guy. One day I'd like to really meet all of you again. I had that party out here again. And then I started fearing for my life. I'm not going to lie. I get death threats at least once a month. I don't know where these come from. You can't do anything about it. I actually called the freaking FBI. I said, I get death threats on a regular basis. Well, we can't really help you, sir. So they can help you when you're dead. Maybe they can't help you because you'll already be dead. But, I don't get it. I mean, I don't know. I can't believe that they don't take these things seriously. I think if someone is threatening your life, watch your back. I'm going to get you. Smith and Wesson are my friends. And you're going to die. You wouldn't believe the stuff I get, but that's what they do. It's crazy, 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 crazy. Yes, if me and Gerald could you only imagine? Let's just sit back for a nanosecond, and this is getting kind of long. Imagine if Gerald Celente and me were running for president and vice president of the United States of America. I can tell you that this would be a vastly different place. Vastly different place. I don't know how long we would last without getting a bullet in our head. But I tell you, man, it's crazy. Crazy stuff. All right, people, I am going to go. This has been fabulous. Thank you, people. Thank you for being here, all of you. Honestly, those thumbs up are so appreciated. We got 546. If we could up those a little bit, I would greatly appreciate that. Again, you have no idea how valuable those are. Support my work by giving me a thumbs up. Get this stuff out there. Let people hear this stuff. Share this stuff on your social networks. And we'll all be okay here. Jerome Powell wants us to buy Anna Castile. Okay. I think that's a good one too. Mitch, thanks again. Beer time. All right, people, love you a lot from the heart. I mean that with all I got. I will see you in the morning. Tomorrow is Friday. Thank you. and we'll get it on in the morning. All right. I will see you then. Have a great rest of your day.